Live. Verstanden?
Okay, meeting streams live now.
There we are. We're live.
We are live. So welcome now to our 26th installment Ephi Rabbi Zoom call. Today live again out of the Sanhedrin Initiative War and Situation Room where also the first Nation of Ephraim Embassy is in Katzrin in the Golan. So how things are going? How things are progressing?
So first thing I want to talk about today is the preparations for the May 24th, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Haifa conference, the third annual Sanhedrin Initiative Conference in cooperation with the Nation of Ephraim. We're going to have a special greeting ceremony for the Nation of Ephraim. We have tens of travelers coming from all over Europe to the Holy Land. This is going to be the first time, Be'ezrat Hashem, that they will experience the Holy Land, and it's up for some of them. And also meet Ulf, which has been teaching them Torah for many, many years now. So it's definitely a very, very exciting moment. Of course, there's so many things that could go wrong, so let's try to keep our things together. And let Hashem run the show. Whatever, we have to do our best and let Hashem run the show. Ulf, I'll tell you that there's a few updates. Yes, that's the beautiful invitation. But I'll tell you a few updates. We have Rabbi Sherki and Rabbi Pizim joining us. Rabbi Sherki is the one who put out all kinds of different books in English and Hebrew and German and in Spanish, in all kinds of languages, for the laws of the 7 laws of Noah and for the prayers of the Noahites and all kinds of stuff. Very, very, very high quality stuff. So he's going to be joining us, Be'ezrat Hashem. Rabbi Pizim, which is also a very important Chabad rabbi, has been involved in many political things, is also going to be joining us. And we're very, very excited about these new groups. I also reached out to Mrs. Ben-Gvir and extended an invitation to her husband. She told me that, of course, he's very, very busy recently, but he will definitely look into it. Of course, if Itamar Ben-Gvir comes, we're going to have to work together with his security team to make sure that the place is secure for the political guests that we have and so on. So all in all, very, very promising. Also, Holy Land Herbs. I did speak to our friend Dr. Gad Baruch Ben Moshe, and he should be joining us as well. He will be happy to talk about Holy Land Herbs and the alliances and cooperations that we can do together and so on. He also would like to sell the temple coin on Holy Land Herbs as well, with exclusive pamphlet that teaches you how to purify water with the silver. Okay, so of course you might need machines, but in a survival situation, he can teach you with 1 coin of silver. You can purify water. There's a few other secret things that we're going to explain how to do, and we can sell the coin together with a survival handbook. How you can use your actual temple coin in a survival situation. So we hope to do that.
This is very, very interesting, because I was already looking into this for quite some time. There are these clay water jars in Israel. They have a handle and then like a little nipple which comes out, and then you put it on your arm and you can drink. So when you put a silver coin in your water or even in your milk, it has antibacterial features. Properties. So it's a very unique to silver, that it's not only the best electrical transport, but also has antiviral and antibacterial features. So silver is really like a miracle element, definitely. And of course, it's part of God's money, Hashem's money, created in the Bible. Everything, Abraham, our father Abraham, purchased the Machpelah cave with 400 shkalim, also 400 shekels of silver. So, and everything, I think besides, I think David bought the Temple Mount with gold, a different amount, but anything else is purchased with silver. So that's
yes, of course, silver holds
good
value, not just because it's rare. We're also going to teach our people how to use it within nature, within the realm of nature, and within the realm of Hashem's creation. So very, very exciting that we have we already have a very long list of people speaking about different things, anti-Semitism, truth in the media. We're going to talk about, of course, the nation of Ephraim and so on. The Noahide laws. We have multiple teachers. We're going to talk about the Sanhedrin. And of course, this is a very, very important conference. This conference is unique because we're giving people some more time. This is already like, I don't know how many times I updated the invitation because we have more and more groups, newer people joining. We're going to have a new invitation. Should be ready in the
near. I put this up here so that everybody can see this.
Yeah, so you have Ephraim Truth Media on the left.
Ephraim Media Truth.
Ephraim Media Truth on the left, and on the other side you have MN Global. So those two organizations will be reporting on the event, officially writing articles, publishing the live streams and videos and so on. So we're very excited about that. We have the Noah Center and the anti-Semitism report, and of course the Nation of Ephraim and Temple Coin. So there's a lot going on, and of course there's much more to come. There's literally not enough pages. There's not enough room on this invitation. We have to make a second and third page in order to give each person and each organization the respect that they deserve. Of course, the main, like we say, you can show us again one more time the invitation. The main address of the event is introducing the nation of Ephraim in Israel by Ulf Diebel, leader of the nation of Ephraim. So, Ulf, would you like to talk to that a little bit and explain us a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. We are now at the from our side and at the end of a very, very long road. Let me put it this way. So the nation of Ephraim was brought into existence on a conference actually in Ramat Rachel in March 2005. So back then, even Rabbi Avraham Feld and Yair Davidi, they were actually present at that event. Back then, they were a bit astounded. They said, hey, what's happening there? So, and of course, Rabbi Feld, is involved in this whole issue with Hebrew roots and, reawakening of the tribes now for over 20 years. And will also speak on the conference. And so I will give a little wrap up, what happened over the last 18 years, what happened over the last 18 years. So as you can see here in our logo, so I was like 7 years out of the land of Israel, stuff happened, and restarted, tshuva process, 2015. And by 2017, we received a building fairly in Germany, 8,000 square meter industrial issue. So we created what we call the Ephi Center, in line with, when you have like an earthquake, you have the epicenter. And we thought, okay, now we are like an earthquake. So we create the Ephi Center. And since then, started to sign up people, for our nation, where we said, okay, according to the Bible, according to Jeremiah, there will be days coming that Hashem will make a new covenant, a new contract between the house of Israel and between the house of Judah. And so we worked relentlessly now for the last 6 years to create this new covenant between, people from the nations who are coming back to Torah. They identify, not necessarily as Jewish, but, as part of Israel. Some people think they are from Joseph, we think we are from Ephraim, and so on and so on. So we created the Society of Heirs of Jacob in Germany for the registration process and so on, and have here these little identity cards. Yeah. So today, when we take a look at this, so we signed people up and they said, okay, listen, if you are interested in making peace with the Jewish people based on the Torah, with the full awareness that they have, according to Genesis 49:10, they have the Mekokek, they have the lawgiver, they know exactly what the Halacha says, how things should so progress. It says, so when you are interested in making this new deal based on the Torah with the Jewish people, well, then sign up. So
I want to say that for those who are we have for those who want to understand where this is going or where this is coming from. So let me try to explain it to my Jewish brethren, as they say. Yeah. So yes. we have let's go through the Rambam. So we are Perek 11, Hilchas Malachim. This is a little bit further down from where we usually sit, which is the Perek, the first Perek and the first Halacha. But this is a little further down, and it says Hamelech HaMashiach. The King Mashiach is going to bring back is destined to stand and bring back the kingdom of the house of David from its slumber to the first kingdom, or to the first government, and he builds the temple in its place, and he gathers the outcasts of Israel, and all the laws come back to the way it was. They sacrifice korbanot, they do shmita and yovel, and all the mitzvahs that are written in the Torah. And anyone who does not believe in him or does not wait for his coming, not only in all the other prophets is he a heretic, but in the Torah and in Moshe. Because the Torah says, and Hashem will bring you back those who are captive, and he will have mercy, and he will go and gather you from all the nations. If they will be outcasted to the corners of the heaven, Hashem will gather them back from there.
Yes, absolutely.
He will take them from there and bring them. So this means that no matter how far the children of Israel are, Hashem promises to bring them back no matter what the situation is. So we really need to appreciate what that means. How far do you think a Jew can go? We know that we have, next to the Orthodox Jewish community, we have people that fall off very close, like the apple that falls close to the tree. But here we're talking about a situation where the corners of the heaven, we're talking about like God forbid, to make a comparison, like when they were going after the Jews, they went after, even if you were second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation Jewish, they wanted to kill those Jews as well, no matter if they were religious or not. So we're talking about Hashem gathering everyone from the corners of the heaven. From there, Hashem, if you will be even in the corners of the heaven, from there Hashem will gather you. And these are the things that are written specifically in the Torah, and they include all the things that were written by the Nevi'im. Even in Parshas Bilam, it speaks about the two Mashiachs. The first Mashiach is from David, which will release Israel from those who pain them, which create them pain. And the last Mashiach will stand from his children, which he redeems Israel from the sons of Esau. And over there it says, I've seen it, but not now. This is David. I know it for sure, but it's not in the near future. This is the King Mashiach. Dorach koichav miYaakov, a star has fallen from Jacob. This is David. V'kam shevet miYisrael, and a tribe has risen from Israel. This is the King Mashiach. And he squashed the Pa'asei Moav. This is David, and then he says, and he hit Moab, and he measured them with a rope. The karka kol b'nei sheis, and this is the King Mashiach. Like it says, umashle miyam ad yom, and Edom will be his inheritance. This is David, like it says, Batihi Edom LaDavid la'avadim, and Edom was slaves to David and Edom was slaves to David. V'haya Yeresha Seir Oivo. This is the King Mashiach, and Seir, which is Italy, that will be the King Mashiach, like it says, Va'olu Moshim B'Har Tzion, and the Redeemers will arise on Har Tzion, the place where we had our last Sanhedrin conference. Okay.
By the way, it's very, very interesting. I figured this only out now after we ran around. So you have this in Numbers 24:17. So it's the fourth book of Moses. So take a look, please, at the date. So we created the Ephi Center on April 4, 24:17. So this is exactly where the verse is.
Yes. So here in Halacha Daled, the Rambam says, and if a king will stand from the house of David, which studies the Torah and does the mitzvahs like David his father, according to what is written in the written Torah and in the oral tradition, and he brings all of Israel to go in its ways and to strengthen themselves in it, and he will fight the wars of Hashem, he is the Cheskas Mashiach. That means he's a candidate that he can be the King Mashiach. And if he was successful, and he beat all the nations around him, and he built the temple in its place, and he gathered the exiles of Israel, then he is Mashiach Vadai, he is for sure Mashiach. And if he was not successful, or he was killed, so then we know that this is not what the Torah promised us. And that he's just like all the kings of the house of David, which were holy and kosher, that died. And Hashem did not put them there only in order to test the people, because there's no time. And then he says, even Yeshua HaNatzri, even Yoshke, which thought that he is Mashiach and was killed bebeis din, even Daniel already prophesied on him, and he said, "Ubanei paritze amcha yinasu lahamid chazon v'nichshalu," and the chutzpaniaks, the guys with the chutzpah of your nation will rise up to create an illusion, and they will fail. And is there any greater illusion than this? That all the prophets speak about Mashiach, the first Redeemer, and the ingatherer of the exiles, and the strengthener of the commandments. And this one brought about the loss of Israel through the sword, and to spread the last remaining Jews, and to demoralize them, and to switch the Torah, and to change, and to mistake most of the world to serve a God other than Hashem. But Hashem, the creator of the world, there is no amount of energy in the person to understand how he works, because not his ways are our ways, and not his thoughts are our thoughts. And everything that we said about Yeshua HaNatzri, Jesus, and the crazy Islamite, which is Muhammad, which stood after him, are only in order to pave the path for the King Mashiach and to fix the world in order to serve Hashem together, like it says in the verse, because then I will turn to the nations in a clear language to call all in the name of Hashem and to serve him as one. How? Because the entire world is already full of the Divrei Mashiach, the topic of Mashiach, and Midivrei Torah, and the study of Torah, and Midivrei HaMitzvot, and the commandments of the mitzvah. And these things have gone to every single corner of the world, to the furthest corners, and even into the nations, Arlei Lev, the hearts of that are not pure for Hashem. Even they are talking about the mitzvahs, and they're talking about the Torah. And then there are those who say these mitzvahs, they used to be true, and now they're not relevant anymore. And they were never, and they haven't been done in our families for generations. And these say that there are secrets in here, and that they're not, and that they're not to be taken literally. And then Mashiach comes and he reveals the secrets. And when the King Mashiach, the true King Mashiach arrives, he will be successful and he will uplift the spirit, and everyone right away comes back and knows that lies they were told by their fathers and that their prophets and their fathers were mistaken. One second. And then he goes on to explain that once that happens, you have the truth of Hashem's Torah, the seriousness of the Hashem's Torah all comes into vision. But it has to go through this process, this washing machine process.
Yes, absolutely.
Of purification of all this of all these things, and at the end of it all, we have the truth comes to light. So this is like it says that when Mashiach comes, there will be birth pains. Tsirim kitzire yulda. Birth pains is when the baby is too big and it has to change its environment already. In other words, there's a limit to how much Torah you can study, and there's a limit to how much mitzvahs you can be aware of before you say, okay, you know what? This needs to come to light. This needs to be born. We need to change the situation. So whether a person decides to go in the ultra-Orthodox Noahide way, or he wants to convert to Judaism, or whatever he wants to do, but there's a point where the baby needs to be born. And this is the birth pains of Mashiach. And of course, each and every one of us has to check himself and see where he's holding.
I mean, I think it was Rabbi Majeski, Stomp the Rabbi. He said, the first guy, how do we know when it is? Okay, the first guy who stopped by as a Mashiach was basically Moshe. So when Moshe arrived, and said, hey guys, I will bring you out of slavery and out of Egypt. So it did not happen immediately. No, it went even worse, so the children, and it needed to have 10 plagues. And of course, the death of the firstborn and Passa, so that the children of Israel were drawn out of Egypt. So of course there is, these birth pains. This is what I think I experience now since, I think 25 years. With attacks on Israel. I've been in Jerusalem during the second Intifada, where bombs exploding left and right, so all this really belongs. And when we're seeing what's happening now, it doesn't look like that it's getting better. We had, like, in the last weeks, only in the week, we've, had our first, on the conference on Har Zion. I mean, there were 1,000 rockets fell on Israel, out of the blue. And it's only now that it calms down again. And so this is, I think, definitely part of the birth pangs until we are finally arrive in the full Geulah.
Yes, and I'm actually happy about the recent back and forth, because right now what happens is we're doing so many good things to bring Mashiach. And all those who believe in death and violence and suicide bombing and attacking civilians from the Arab side of town, and I believe the leftist liberals are probably itching them on, because they believe that if the conflict continues, somehow it all works out. Whatever, they have a completely distorted way of how they think everything's going to settle. And part of their great plan is to antagonize the Arabs, to continue attacking Jews in Israel. Somehow the devil has worked his magic to convince these people that by encouraging the Arabs to attack the Jewish people in Israel and throwing money in their face, somehow that's going to bring peace. That is truly one of the things that a chassid has to always be aware of, that the Yetzer Hara comes to him with all kinds of beautiful stories and BS excuses to justify, to make the pig kosher, to make the unthinkable, to make the unthinkable, to encourage murder. How do the left even come to a place where they think that killing Jews in Israel is going to resolve some issues.
Yeah.
The Avera, Schar Avera, the reward of the actual Avera, which is a transgression of Hashem's laws, is the actual Avera. If Jews are killed because of a terrorist attack, that itself is horrible. And so far, not one Jew was killed in all the bombs, which is, like you said, a miracle in and of itself. And even the one citizen that was killed was an Arab from Gaza that came to work here. So
the one in Rehovot, where we had, there was one direct hit in a flat in Rehovot.
So, I mean, talk about Hashem running the world. I mean, you know, and every hit that the Israelis did was just totally traumatic for the Arabs. They're just taking out their buildings. They're taking out direct hits straight into the guy's living room on the 6th floor. You have to understand, Gaza is one of the most densely populated places in the world. So we're talking about houses that are like this next to each other, buildings going like this, and Israel has like a missile that goes right up the sewer system, you know? So this is definitely traumatic to all the people that are involved in this. And we're definitely seeing Hashem's miracles in play right now in the Holy Land. And honestly, the feeling in Israel right now is very, very strong, as far as the government is right-wing. A unified right wing finally has the guts to do what it needs to do. Itamar Ben-Gvir is putting the correct amount of pressure onto the Likud parties. The Likud parties are finally turning on the motor. You know, they're finally getting into full gear. You know, Bibi Netanyahu is done chatting and he's ready to, you know, take notes and chew bubble gum, you know, and we're all out of bubble gum, you know. In other words, he's ready to, you know, do some damage. And the people are united behind the government. The politicians are united behind the police and the military services. And everything is working in a very, very strong way. This is unprecedented. In other words, the Arabs have never seen Israel this bold in the last 20 years. And this time Israel is basically taking no prisoners. In other words, if we say we're bombing the leaders that ship rockets and you guys send missiles back, we will destroy you. We are not playing around anymore. This is not the ping pong that the Arabs are used to. This is not some kind of special effects fireworks show. Whoever sends a missile to Israel, his head is in his hand. He will be killed. Damo berosho. He takes responsibility for his life. So anyone that launches a missile at Israel, you might as well say Kaddish for him right now. You don't even have to wait. In other words, Israel's policy has totally changed. And if they need to destroy the entire Gaza, they will. And if they need to destroy Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood and whoever else is creeping around, they will wipe the map clean, because they're just sick and tired of the whole spiel. I think that also the Jews that are coming from America are basically telling the Israeli government, I don't know what you guys are used to. A missile a day keeps the doctor away. This is not exactly the way the world works. There's no country in the world that puts up with this garbage.
Not one. And not even in this amount. I mean, this is unheard of. 1,000 rockets. I mean, this is like what happened now in Ukraine, apparently. I mean, 1,000 rockets or 1,200 rockets. This is ridiculous.
100%. Well, I'm very happy that
not one government, not one country in the world would stay silent in the light of this. And it's, for me, it's, it's very hard. First of all, I've been, during the withdrawal from Gaza, this was the latest try where we said, okay, we exchange your land for peace, and it didn't work. So now Gaza becomes this terrorist hotbed. And when I'm taking a look now at let's say German newspapers or German news outlets, you do not see anything of it, nothing. It's as if it's not existing, while at the same time we had now Abbas in the United Nations, slamming Israel, wants to take them the membership away, basically, and at the same time asked for the arrest of Itamar Ben-Gvir at the International High Court of Justice here in Hague, in ICC.
So I just want to say, Ulf, that the Sanhedrin initiative could clearly tell the United Nations that if they think that Israel shouldn't be on the board, then we're not going to do any work with them either. So they have to consider that seriously. The Sanhedrin is a peacekeeping international body that can resolve issues according to the Torah, while the whole world is swearing on the Bible and they don't even know how to read and they don't even know what Rashi is. So maybe we could help them with these things. But if the United Nations thinks that they're so smart and they're so great, I mean, United Nations is not going to cancel Israel. That's the honest truth, because
no, they cannot. But it's we have to slowly investigate. Who is the United Nation? What is the United Nation? People are really not familiar with it. It becomes now this supranational body. But it's a company. It's basically a company. Now we
right. But I want to point out that the United Nations is definitely the Rebbe spoke. I just want to say that the Rebbe spoke positively about the establishment of the United Nations. I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theorists that the water and the food. Of course, there's some truth to everything, but the United Nations initially was a body that was put together after World War I, and then it was reinforced later.
After World War I, they put together the League of Nations, and that didn't work. And then they put this together in October.
United Nations, correct. So the United Nations.
It's very important to understand this. Also, I think people forget this. So the United Nations were founded by the 46 nations at war with Germany. So short before the end of the war, America made a lot of diplomatic actions, and they drew, I don't know, like some countries in there. They never fired one bullet, but they were in a state of war against Germany. And then when Germany was flattened on the 8th of May 1945, so they totally had a capitulation. And so the 46 at war with Germany nations, they formed the United Nations, where Germany basically became like the enemy state of all the world. And so now the United Nations started. And this is why I said, it's very important for people to grasp that the future of Israel is very much interlinked with the future of Germany. Because Germany still today is an occupied country, and we see that right now from Germany there is a lot of diplomatic things happen. I mean, we had like a couple of days ago for 75 years of Israel. We had another meeting in North Rhine-Westphalia, where I came from Düsseldorf, where the Israeli ambassador were there, and all politicians basically sided with Israel. Isaac Herzog came, I think, end of last year, beginning of this year. He spoke in in our parliament, and he also said, Germany and Israel and the Jewish people, they have like a 1,700-year history together. And of course, it's tainted with horrific events in World War II, but the future happens together.
Exactly.
We are together in this, and this is why I think, it's very important, for people to understand where we are coming from, that we stand in the nations,
So Ulf, I want to explain a little bit. I want to give I want to explain what you just said, even with an example. The Ottoman Empire and the Russian Empire were in bloody war historically for many, many years. They were at each other's throats. They killed tens of thousands of each other's soldiers for all kinds of political issues and all kinds of other issues. Okay, today they are allies. They understood each other very, like what happens in war is you really get up close, like my brother-in-law is in the army. So he says to me, when you're fighting with someone, you're so close to him You can smell what he had for breakfast that morning, when you're in a war, obviously. But the point is that once the war is over, then usually what happens is there's a moment of peace, and then there's a time for the traumas to be healed, and for documentaries to be written, and for the facts to be put to light, which of course nobody's trying to hide the truth here. Of course, there's a lot of issues that need to be resolved, that need to be paid attention to, and I'm very, very proud about, the Holocaust museums all over the world and everything. It's very, very important that people know what happened, because if we don't remember what happened, then we're going to repeat it. History is going to repeat itself, and there's no issue with that. But besides that, the German people right now have a unique opportunity to study about the Jewish people, to understand the culture, and the same thing vice versa, the Jewish people to understand the advantages of the German people, the German engineering and different other elements. But the Germans just have an advantage, and they have a very high IQ, which is also similar to the Jewish people.
I think this slowly fades away, and it's deteriorating even quicker since the Green Party is up. We are talking about the most stupidest people running around there. I'm
trying to be nice, but
Okay, thank you so much. But we should name it as it is. So
okay, yeah. Look, well, let's put it this way: the truth is, in every pool of people you have, I really see that in every pool of people you have the intelligent people, the people that are looking for Hashem, looking for the Torah. They understand the dakus, the sensitivity of the politics, and they understand what's going on, and they understand what's happening, and they know where to. Let me give you an example. My father's business partner was a Jew from Germany, and his name was Dreyfus, okay? Dreyfus family.
Yeah.
And they were Orthodox Hasidic Jews, okay? He went around with a vest in Borough Park, like all the rest of the Hasidic Jews. He was my father's business partner for many, many years. He already passed away, but his father read Mein Kampf. And when Hitler became chancellor, he packed his family and took them to Argentina. He said, we're leaving right now. There's no way we're hanging around in this situation.
Yes.
And he started to slowly move his wealth to Argentina, but things started heating up very, very quickly. And that's it. He saved his family because he was aware of the situation. The political climate changes and moves, and we need to be aware and involved and impacting the changes of the situation to the benefit of whatever we're trying to do. In our case, we're trying to create a world where Hashem can dwell, a dira b'tachtainim, a dwelling place for Hashem in this world. And we're trying to go by the book, by the Torah. We're trying to establish the Sanhedrin to answer many questions, resolve many issues according to the Torah way. And we want to see the end of this Roman, the exile. We want to see the end of this exile. And we're going to do it in the way that the Torah says, and in the way that the Rebbe taught us to do, and so on. So Be'ezrat Hashem will be able to do that. And during this kinus, we're going to be talking about the Tnaim, the Shoftim, the Yoetzim, the Imais HaMashiach, the contract, the terms of service for all the judges and advisors in the days of Mashiach, which we already entered, as the Rebbe explains. And we're going to be talking about the Sanhedrin initiative, and we're going to be talking about the nation of Ephraim, or in the language of the Jewish people, the ultra-Orthodox Noahides, and what does it really mean, the ingathering of the exiles. And hopefully Avi Feld will try to explain it according to the Torah. Of course, at the end of the day, we're going a little bit ahead of ourselves in this topic. Just like those people who are donating to the temple before the Sanhedrin is established, you can't, according to Jewish law, you can't do anything unless you don't have the Sanhedrin. You can't crown a king, you can't build a temple, you can't receive the Torah. So first, let's get the Sanhedrin established and the Jewish king. And then we know that the Jewish king is the one who's going to decide who's from the tribes, who's not, and even if not, what's the geder, what's the criteria, what do they deserve? Whether it's the land in Israel or their status and so on. Ger Tzedek, Ger Toshav, what is it? So these are things that are ahead of the game. But the main thing is, like the Rambam said, and we just spent time reading, that the Rambam says that Hashem's ways of bringing people to the Torah are not stuff that normal people can understand. So who are we to decide how a person's development and how a person comes to the Torah? We need to just sit down and remember that we need to resolve the main issue, which is sinat chinam, which is baseless hatred, and we need to replace it with ahavat chinam, and to act in kavod zelazeh, and respect to one another, and not to take people out of context. Of course, I can tell somebody, hey, I parked my car and I wasn't parked correctly, and I didn't even care. I just got out of my car and I did what I needed to do. But the context is important. Was it an empty parking lot? There was nobody there anyway. Was it 3 a.m? So no one cares. You just park. Who cares? There's another 300 empty parking spaces. So context is very, very important. So when the Rambam mentions Jesus, the Rambam Yashke, the Rambam mentions Muhammad, the Rambam mentions these people, and he says that the reason Hashem put them in the world and gave them a godly experience to bring them to a place where they start to gather the people and teach them Torah is for a purpose. So we have to get over our tribal instinct of, hey, you're different than me, I don't know who you are, blah, 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 blah. We're talking now about a redemption mindset. A redemption mindset is a unified front for the greater things.
Yeah, and this is, Joseph, I mean, this is why we are full on board, because, we already, and I think this was one of the, best examples, is so when we have Hashem as king, okay, how do we express this? Okay, by keeping his commandments, of course, by keeping his commandments. And so, as you even said yourself, in the Knesset, yes, currently from the 613, we only are able to keep 86 because, either it's not in the land or the Halacha was made outside the land, there is no temple service and so on and so on.
87, but okay.
So we are not able to keep the fully, but this is where we strive for. It says, okay, each one of us, says, okay, we are not Jewish, okay, of course not. This is why we said, okay, we're from the other side from the lost side of the family, coming home, and it is our purpose, to do as many mitzvot as we can, and by cooperation or with the cooperation with the Jewish people, especially now with the Orthodox Jewish communities, okay, we can strive to do more together. And
I want to say what you told me, that you told me that you were at some restaurant and you were ordering relatively kosher food, a salad or whatever. Yes. And the Israeli tourists were ordering something that wasn't exactly kosher, right?
Yes, absolutely. No, it was in Jerusalem. Okay. It was one of my first guy, when I was still a student, I went out with my Israeli friends, with my Jewish friends. So they took me to, and they all had Sata Lavan, all pig on there. I said, what's happening? So I was the only guy eating kosher, and I was like, really? So what's happening? So yes.
So you, as a Noahide, were teasing the Jewish kids and telling them, why are you eating white meat, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So you see, that's something that no Jewish rabbi can do, because none of us are in a restaurant that's selling that stuff in the first place. So that's like a special mission that the Orthodox Noahites can do in every place in the world. David, when he came to give me the box of coins, he also sat with me and told me that he was in a business meeting with a lot of important people. There was a Israeli girl there, and she ordered, a cheeseburger or something. And he said, I'm not doing business with her. I don't understand, I'm not going to do business with a Jewish girl that's ordering a cheeseburger in front of everybody like this. Disrespecting. Don't ever disrespect your Jewish tradition in front of everybody like that, And so this is the kind of special missions, I would say, that the Rebbe would be very, very proud of, that the Ephi nation can do. Hundreds of thousands of members all over Europe and all over the world, that the Jewish people can never even attempt to get to. And
Yes,
this,
absolutely.
like,
And I
this is
already
also helping in the ingathering of the exiles as well, because even if you have a Jewish guy, yeah, his mother's Jewish and everything, but if he's not saved on time and brought back into the Torah, he's going to marry out of the faith, and his kids are not. And before you know it, it's going to be, no one's going to remember anything. And then what, Maybe his grandchildren will be Ephis, But
yeah, I mean, as it looks like, especially the liberal Jews in America, they are more like lost Ephraim, are stuck under idols than Jews. I mean, it's absolutely. I told this to Rabbi Saklas, when I met him here in the Chabad house in Zagreb. There's, he asked us, okay, do you want to completely convert? I mean, do you all want to become Jewish? I said, no, actually, no, we want to, go the way together, because currently we can't do 613 anyhow, okay? So, but we can side with the Jewish people to strive for all of them. And so why do I don't want to? Because, as a former Christian coming out of the nations, knowing all this stuff, I can say things to my guys, you cannot say. It's impossible for an Orthodox Jewish person to go into a church and then slam the guy for Yoshke or for Trinity or anything. It's impossible. But I can do this. I can do this. And I think this is the absolute super duper advantage, we have here in our cooperation, because we can take, the knowledge of both of the sides, concentrate on the Torah, and go out, to do the will of Hashem. And I think this is a very, very powerful issue. And I'm really looking forward to this conference now. Ben Zion, Rabbi Gagula, already said, we have people coming from the foreign ministry, from the foreign minister. So we already said from the very beginning, we want to make this cooperation and, as official as possible. And work out a way also for coming generations, make like a certain way where people who come out of idol worship, out of Christianity, out of whatever, they find the way to Torah, that we can work out a path together, that they really can become a part of Hashem's people. And so
100%. I want to say that there's a very big chance that we're going to be visited by different groups of people with different agendas. Some people might be from the governments. Some people, they might not say who they are or what their deal is. They probably, all kinds of people that are just monitoring what's going on with the Sanhedrin establishment, different media groups that have to report back to their bases. And I am 100% totally fine with that, because really what at the end of the day, this is not about me or you or us. This is about pushing a narrative, a storyline for the rest of the world that is positive, that brings us back to our Father in heaven. And of course, we are open. Every rabbi that we go to in the Sanhedrin Initiative Scouting Mission, we're learning from them. We're listening to them. We're inviting them to join, to be an advisor, to be a judge, and so on. So we are totally open to hear recommendations, suggestions, to add people to the justice and our advisory board. We're totally open to change, and that's really what we need right now, because that's the spirit of the moment. This year, all the professionals are saying is the year of action, to do as much as possible. The years of, like the Corona years, was just sitting around brainstorming, kind of the natural way it was. And now is a year of more of, let's act on what we believe. Let's act on what we think is true and holy and godly, hopefully. So let's hope that this conference is successful. I just want to quickly read one more Dvar Torah, and after that I'll leave you with the closing statements, Ulf. So we have a commandment in the Torah, a very controversial commandment. It says, it's called Hocheach Tochiach, which means You need to rebuke those who are going off the way. Okay? So if you see your friend doing something not right, you got to go no, right?
Yes.
So before it says the mitzvah of hocheach tocheach et amitecha, of rebuking someone who is not going in the right path, it says velo isisna es achicha. You should not hate your brother, which is a precondition to you telling him whatever. In other words, first step is unity. First step is acceptance of the other. And only if you love him with all your heart and all your soul, and you truly mean the best for him, and you can also express that to him, then you can go and tell him, okay, hey, maybe we should do this better, because then he'll take it in the right way. And then after that, it says, V'lo sisa alav chet, which also means do not remind him of his sins. In other words, don't push it too much. If your friend is trying to do teshuvah, you're not allowed to remind him of his past. And if you weren't successful in rebuking him correctly, you are the one who is responsible, because you did not have dvarim hayotzim min halev. You didn't say it with a whole heart. And this is something that I wanted to point out. This is today's Hayom Yom, Chav Ir Mem Aleph LaOmer, and I just wanted to finish with that. Closing statements, please.
Wow, this is now again here. This close. Okay. I'm looking forward to see everybody on 24th of May, 1 p.m. in Haifa, in our international synagogue in the Chabad house. It's directly in the down at the Baha'i Garden in the German colony. I'm looking forward to meet everybody and to progress what we started. I think it's a
free entrance. Not necessary to call before. Everyone is welcome. If you want to speak and if you want to be part on the invitation, then let us know. But otherwise, everyone is welcome to join, listen into the Torah, and so on and so on. All right.
We have about 20 guys coming from us. You know, they're flying in from Croatia, from Spain, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, of course. Yeah. So where several nations are already coming to advance the Sanhedrin initiative, and of course, you know, to introduce ourselves. So anybody who, you know, in the last years, you know, thinks we are, come by, meet us. And let's make peace. That's my statement. You know, we want to do the will of Hashem. We want to do the will of Hashem, and we invite everybody who is on our side. That's it.
All right, Ulf. Thank you so much for being with us today from the nation of Ephraim, from the Golan Embassy. All the best.